Hi, thanks for joining me here today. This is Kelly Robbins with the Copywriting Institute. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about ruts. What I want to do is spend some time talking about how to recognize where you're in a rut and what to do to get out of it. Specifically, as a business owner, this might be the first business you've had. It might be that you have a business, or you're trying to grow it, or you're new to a business and you don't know anyone else that has ever done that before. You might be in a place where you're reading books about what to do and how to get clients. You might have friends giving you advice, telling you what to do. And the thing is to be successful, you often have to do things that other people don't do. And the way that we live our lives mostly is we do things the way that have always been done. For example, you might make macaroni and cheese the same way. You've always made macaroni and cheese because your mom taught you how to make macaroni and cheese, and her mom taught her how to do it. So that's the way that it's always been, and that's how you do it, and there's really not much thought put into it at all. It's the same thing with making money, attracting clients, deciding on a business and how you serve the world. We have the patterns and beliefs that we grew up with and that we have picked up from our family and friends, and it doesn't always work. The programming that we have isn't always what's needed to get where we want to go if it's someplace we haven't gone before. Which I just think is a really fascinating thing, because the trick is, what do you need to change to get from where you want to go to where you want to be if you don't know what these programs are or what the ruts are. I was reading a book recently called The Zahir by Paulo Coelho. I'm not sure if I said that right. He wrote The Alchemist, which was a bestseller. It was actually a really interesting book. Part of the book, the main character was talking about relationships, was what the book was about more than anything. And he kind of stumbled across an interesting fact that railroad ties are 4 feet by 8.5 inches apart. And the character was like, why? Why aren't they 5 by 5 or 5 by 10? Why this weird 8.5? Why this weird number? So he went on this mission to figure out why this weird number. And what did he find? He found that when they first made railroad tracks, that they laid the tracks down in the ruts made by the wagons. So there was absolutely no thought at all put into how wide the train should be and how wide the tracks should be, how far apart they should be from each other. They were just thrown down because that was the easiest thing to do. So then he went looking. Well, the wagon was obviously there. How did they get to be that size? And he went back a ways. The story was longer. That the wagons were first created. They were first chariots by the Roman Empire, the Imperial Roman Empire. And they were measured when they first made the chariots. All they did was take 2 horses' butts and kind of measure how wide does this need to be to keep it as simple as possible, and they measured 2 horses' butts, and there it was. So that was I don't even know how long ago that was, probably hundreds and hundreds of years ago that was invented, and here we are today still. A major part of our transportation is measured by the width of 2 horses' butts, and that's just the easiest thing, it's the easiest way to do it. It's the way it's always been. And then to take the story even a step further, one of our most modern pieces of technology is the space shuttle. And I was reading a little article about the space shuttle. The engineers or whoever that was making the fuel tanks wanted to make them a little bigger, just for efficiency's sake. And they had to move the tanks from Utah, I think, to Florida. They had to travel across train and go through a tunnel through the Rocky Mountains. And the train tracks they couldn't make them any bigger than they already are, because it had to fit on the train tracks to be transported. So even our most technologically advanced transportation, like a space shuttle, is still being affected by the width of two horses' butts that was kind of haphazardly created hundreds of years ago. And in the book I was reading, he used that as an example for relationships and how a marriage should look. And I was thinking about how interesting that is of how we are with our businesses and making money and running our how it all gets put together. And we do things the way that we know to do. And we just don't often take the time to stop and look at how supportive these beliefs or patterns are. How, if I'm not making the money that I want, what do I have to change? What pattern isn't working? What action am I taking? Do I need to do differently? And it's not easy to see. I know in my life I've had to stop and just really look at what's going on and why is this, why am I stuck here? Why am I in this rut? And how do I change it? So I have a list here of a couple things that I'm going to ask you to look at about your beliefs and see how that fits in with the life that you're wanting to create. The first thing that I do when I coach with clients is have them write down, I have them write me a letter, really, telling me where are you in your life, what's going on, and where do you want to go. And we kind of fill in the blanks together. With this video, what I'm going to ask you to do is to just stop and say, what kind of beliefs do I have about this life that I want to create for myself, and how supportive of that is how does that support where I want to go? So here's a couple of them. Rules you have about owning your own business or making money on your own. It's not easy. Do you have a belief that you have to work really hard to make money? It's hard to be a good mother or father and work. I must work hard and often. It's difficult to make money. I have to do everything myself, which could be if I want it done right or I don't have money to hire someone. That could go in a lot of different directions. I must do it the way that experts are telling me to do it. I think that one's kind of an interesting one. There's a lot of marketers and coaches and gurus out there that are selling things and teaching you to do things a certain way. Really question that. Is that the way that it has to be? So I think this is a really interesting topic. If you're stuck, I know when I first started my business as a copywriter 11 years ago, I got stuck at a certain place. I got to $50,000 a year and I got kind of stuck. And I actually really didn't know what to do. I had 3 little kids. I was very busy running around and I was working. I knew I was doing okay. I just got stuck and I didn't know what to do to get different results. And I went outside myself. I hired my first coach. I learned how to do things differently. Where are you? Are you in a place where you need to stop and assess where you're at and say, what do I need to do differently? What isn't supporting me on my journey to where I want to go? And it could be some of those things that I threw out there just now. So I encourage you to stop and think about that and take a look at it. If you would like more information on copywriting or coaching or starting a business, I recommend that you visit my website at www.thecopywritinginstitute.com. We've got some free newsletters, podcasts, more videos, all sorts of great information readily available for you there. So go take a look and have a great rest of the day. Thanks for joining me today.